You know what's strange? When you stop messaging and they stop messaging you, it feels like nothing is happening. Like silence means it's over. But here's the truth. The dynamic doesn't end when communication stops. It transforms. Because silence isn't the absence of emotion. It's the stage where emotion finally reveals itself. When two people go quiet, one may start to reflect, the other may start to feel uneasy. And the one who remains centered in that quiet, that's the one who holds their own power. So stay with this thought. By the end of this reflection, you'll understand why silence speaks louder than any message you could ever send. You see, modern connections are often built on noise. Constant notifications, updates, validation loops. We can become accustomed to being seen. But silence disrupts that pattern. It creates a space where attention once lived. And that space compels truth to surface. When contact stops in both directions, that silence becomes a mirror. And what's reflected in that mirror isn't about the other person. It's about you. This is where principles of inner strength enter. The ancient art of emotional control, clarity, and perspective. A wise philosopher once wrote, "If it is not right, do not do it. If it is not true, do not say it." Silence in its purest form can be both right and true because it's the absence of manipulation. The refusal to plead for validation. It's raw honesty without words. But here's what most people never realize. The moment communication stops, inner psychology takes over. Let's break it down. When you stop initiating contact, two forces begin to battle silently. Your ego versus your peace. Your ego says send a message. Just one more. They'll forget you. Your peace whispers, wait, observe. Let the space be felt. Many people lose right there, in that psychological tug-of-war. Because silence exposes your attachments. You might start overthinking. Did I do something wrong? Are they talking to someone else? Perhaps they are testing the situation. But here's the candid truth. They are not testing you. Life is. They are in their own silence, too. And within their mind, another process begins. The cycle of absence. At first, they might feel relief. No pressure, no messages, no expectations. Then time passes. That relief can turn into curiosity, then into doubt, and eventually into a sense of missing something. Because what once felt like freedom can start to feel like a loss. The mind often only understands value in absence. When you stop pursuing, you stop feeding a certain dynamic, and suddenly they are faced with the space that your presence used to occupy. Here's what many miss. Silence is not passive. It is active energy. It's the moment when emotional tension meets emotional detachment, when balance begins to reset. When all the chasing, all the effort, all the attempts at control start to shift. You see, connection and personal power are never static. They shift depending on who respects the silence. The one who remains centered in the silence isn't being cold. They are grounded. They've stopped negotiating their worth. They've stopped chasing the illusion of connection and started cultivating presence within themselves. When you stop reaching out, something profound can happen. Your silence turns into a mirror that reflects the other person's behavior. If their interest was genuine, they would likely notice your absence and reach out. If their interest was superficial, they might seek attention elsewhere. Either way, silence exposes truth faster than words ever could. And that is the advantage of inner strength, the ability to stand still while the world spins. Another philosopher said, "It's not what happens to you, but how you react to it that matters." Your silence is your reaction. It's not a weakness. It's emotional discipline. A form of strength. Let me speak directly to you right now because this is the test that defines real fortitude. When contact stops in both directions, your mind may crave closure. You may want to explain, fix, or prove something. That's natural. That's the human side. But a person of principle understands that closure doesn't always come from conversation. It comes from acceptance. Understand this. If someone truly values you, your absence will speak for you. This is the quiet shift in dynamics. You don't need to remind them of your worth. They will feel it in the space you create. This is the beauty of emotional control. You stop trying to win people back and start winning yourself back. The lesson is simple. Silence is not punishment. It's preservation. You're not ignoring someone to manipulate. You're respecting yourself enough to stop explaining your value to someone who already knows it, but chooses to overlook it. And that's where your power returns. Because when you stop reaching out, you're not losing them. You're reclaiming yourself. So what does this look like in real life? Let's make this practical. When contact stops, don't fill that silence with anxiety. Fill it with purpose. Get busy. Not as a performance, but as evolution. Engage with your life, read, build your body, sharpen your mind, master your craft, not to get their attention, but to remind yourself of who you are without them. Every time you choose not to reach out impulsively, you're rewiring your brain. You're teaching it that peace feels better than chasing. And here's the shift. That change in energy doesn't go unnoticed. People sense when your focus returns to you. Your silence can become magnetic because it's no longer desperate. It's composed. They might start to wonder, why isn't there communication? Have they moved on? Were they the one holding their own power all along? That's when the dynamic transforms, because silence creates mystery and mystery can fuel interest. But here is the crucial distinction. You don't use silence to get someone back. You use it to get yourself back. When you start building yourself from within, you realize the other person was never the source of validation, only a reflection. As your energy stabilizes, you stop chasing outcomes and begin to embody peace. And ironically, that's often when the world, and sometimes even the other person, begins to respond differently. So, let me ask you this. If contact stopped in both directions right now, would your silence bring you peace, or would it expose your dependence? Because that's your truth. Most people struggle to handle silence because it forces them to confront themselves. But a person of principle welcomes it. A great thinker once wrote, "Nowhere can a person find a quieter or more untroubled retreat than in their own soul." That's where you must live, in that inner fortress where no message, no delay, no external event can shake your foundation. So the next time contact stops, don't panic. Don't chase. Let silence speak. Because silence doesn't end stories. It reveals them. And in that stillness, remember, you're not losing control, you're mastering it. If this reflection resonated with your mind and your spirit, take a breath and remember, silence isn't the end. When silence feels like it's truly over, it can be the beginning of your transformation. Do not forget to take what serves you and leave the rest, and share worthwhile insights with your beloved ones.